launching the original PlayStation, the world was betting against us.
PlayStation meant nothing in March of 1995 to most consumers. It had no brand, it had no shelf space, it had no consumers that owned the hardware.
Back then, we were predicted to fail.
I go back to the early days of PlayStation, and people even doubted the name PlayStation internally. Like, PlayStation, what does that mean? And people said, okay, I know Sony from TVs, but what do they know about video games?
And how could Sony, who knows nothing about video games, possibly compete with Nintendo and Sega?
And we were going up against some very formidable competition in Nintendo and Sega.
And to be honest, that became very motivating for the people who worked here, and we were determined to prove people wrong.
So I grew up an arcade gamer, and the ultimate thing to me was to have a stand-up arcade in my hands, and nothing ever came close. But I think PlayStation was the first time that you said, you know what, this console is superior to what you see in coin-op arcade.
Yes, we came into the industry following others, but we had our own take on it. Sony looks to enter a market and put their own stamp on it.
PlayStation wasn't the first CD-based system, but I think it was the first one that really broke through and used the CD format effectively.
You know, Sony doesn't just follow what's going on. We really take a step back and say, where do we think the industry's going?
The PlayStation business model was to immediately go out and embrace third-party developers and bring third parties in.
When I got a chance to see the type of software that was being developed for it and the business model, it was really the first time that it was going to be a big win for consumers, but also a big win for the development community and a big win for the retail community. So everybody was rooting for it. It was really revolutionary.
We were going in and trying to establish a brand. You know, the edict at the time was to try and make PlayStation synonymous with video games.
Up until the launch of PlayStation 1, this was by and large a kids category.
I think really the target for us was Nintendo. And going after them, I can remember being up at a show in Seattle and going head to head with the N64 at the time, and watching the kids' reaction to each kind of console.
Sony changed all that. Sony gave permission to people of any age that it's cool to play video games. That this is just an acceptable part of the entertainment, landscape.
It wasn't like a modest improvement on what people had seen before. It was a huge improvement in gaming, and it was a huge improvement in the consumer experience.
The controller was a defining part of the success of PlayStation. So what I have in my hand here is an original development system controller for the original standalone PlayStation. This was what the original game development was done on in the very early days of '94, probably late '93. They really weren't accepted by the PlayStation team. What they really settled upon and were insistent on was a design made by this famous industrial designer by the name of Goto-san. And it was the handle design, the one that just fits perfectly in your hand, and I think really contributes to the great success that PlayStation had.
PlayStation 2 is really allowing the development communities to bring their imaginations to life, to suddenly now having the polygonal and that real 3D depth and feel of gaming. Some
something you could relate to. It was characters that looked like people and moved like people.
Sony's a market-leading brand, and PlayStation has now established its place in game industry lore.
The importance is to lead the entertainment culture as opposed to responding to it.
Regardless of how successful it's been, we're always looking for the opportunity both to either push the envelope or try something new.
PlayStation 2 is introducing DVD playback and really taking that gameplay experience and that graphic experience to a level where you could clearly look at the two side by side and go, oh my God, you know, look at the difference. And it wasn't just graphics, it was depth of gameplay. PlayStation 2 was even more dominant than the original PlayStation, and that, to me, was probably the most amazing accomplishment that we've had. We will ultimately start any of our product design by saying, how can we improve on the last generation of gaming, and how can we come out with something that's going to trump what we've done in the past.
We're the only company to have 10-year product life cycles and visions for where this industry will be, you know, not tomorrow, but 10 years from tomorrow.
But the thing that's so amazing is, as exciting as the PlayStation was on September 9th in 1995, it evolved significantly over the next 5 or 6 years. Same is true with PlayStation 2, and clearly that's been the case with PlayStation 3.
PS3 will still be defining home entertainment 10 years from now.
So we start by saying, you know, how do we build the best games, and what type of technology do we need to enable developers to do that?
This product is going to stand the test of time and will be the dominant machine sitting next to the television for the next 10 years.
You ask 10 different people what PlayStation is, you'll get 10 different answers, and I think that's a good thing because it means different things to different people.
We're helping to create a brand that is truly iconic in the world.
The PlayStation is always a part of our DNA.
Not just brand loyalty, but you know, it's the sense of accomplishment that you helped establish that brand. You look back throughout the years and the things that you've been able to do and touch, that I'll always take with me.
We know how demanding our fans are and how much they care about this brand, and we appreciate their loyalty.
PlayStation fans are the group that I like to address the most.
I'm confident wherever this industry is going, Sony's going to be at the ad front of that.
You know, I never forget the fact that if it wasn't for the PlayStation fans, there'd be no need for Sony Computer Entertainment. I appreciate everything they've done for the company and everything they've done for me, and they have my commitment that I'll do everything I can to keep trying to bring them the best value and the best gaming experience possible.